time.
Yo, what's up YouTube? And I bet you thought I was going to say charisma here, but psych!
It was I, Dio!
No, Dio. No, Dio. This is my video. Anyways, yeah, charisma here along with my stand Heatwave. You like him? Oh, so adorable. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is certainly a bizarre series to say the least, but that's ultimately what makes the series so charming to me personally. The over-the-top and campy nature of the series did take a little while for me to get used to, but once I got past that first hump, I then started to realize that it does definitely consist of some of the best character designs, some of the coolest fighting abilities, and without a doubt, some of the best music of any anime that I think I've ever watched. Like, seriously, I've never wanted to rank the endings to a series as badly as I want to for JoJo's. I mean, come on, we all know about the roundabout meme, but geez, this is just like the tip of the iceberg when it comes to JoJo music. Of course, the anime is only adapted up to part 5, Vento Oreo. You like my Italian? So, there won't be any discussion about Stone Ocean, Steel Ball Run, or JoJolion for obvious reasons. Personally though, I just can't wait for the anime adaptation of Steel Ball Run, just to see if David Production can somehow secure a license to use Old Town Road by Lil Nas X. Look, somehow they got the rights to a Jodeci song, okay? It's not out of the realm of possibility. As always though, the criteria remains the same. Music, artistic direction, plot relevance, and the almighty nostalgia factor. But if we're being honest, I mean, like, how do you rank JoJo OPs based on the art? Like, they're all amazing. It's impossible, but I'll try my best. And also, quick side note, I was going to include the OVA opening from 1993 to make this list an even 10, but honestly, it's not really an OP, you know what I mean? It's more like a general opening credits scene of a sacrifice taking place back in the day with the stone mask cults and shit, with generic OST in the background. Well, not generic, but you get what I'm saying. Oh yeah, and there's titties in there, and I'm already dealing with enough demonetization issues, so yeah. But with that out of the way, let's get weird with every JoJo's Bizarre Adventure opening ranked from worst to best. Number 9. So, with this list being so tight and all of these openings being just so utterly beautiful, I gotta put a really heavy emphasis on things like music. And for as great as this song is on its own, I feel pretty comfortable in saying that Trader's Requiem is my least favorite of the entire bunch. I guess it's the one that grabs my ear's attention the least. You know, maybe series fatigue also comes into play as well. I'm not really sure because Giorno is one of my favorite JoJo's, but this OP still remains underwhelming to me, I guess is the way to put it, especially compared to the first Golden Wind opening. But there's still nothing to really trash here, you know? While the song doesn't do anything for me personally, the title sequence over a river during the sunset in Italy feels just like so lavish and regal, you know? And the way that the opening picks up from there, showing all the events up until now, is great. Seeing Bruno's distress here and the way that his crew and their stands are all showcased are, bellissimo, gorgeous. Especially Trisha's part. The white hair really had me asking a lot of questions at first, you know. But honestly, the second half of the OP is by far the best part, just because of this scene of Doppio, which in the second version reveals his transformation into Diavolo. And also the fight scene here between Giorno and Golden Wind, and the boss and King Crimson, which in the second and third versions were played around with a lot to make the battle seem as epic as possible, you know. And it was, in all fairness. Despite that, and despite Giorno being the GOAT, this opening is pretty mid by JoJo standards and is ultimately a victim of just like banger after banger for over 100 episodes up until this point. It's still pretty good though. Number 8. Yes, another controversial pick, I know, and another quick deflection by saying that Jotaro is also my favorite JoJo, but again, man, I'm blaming a lot of this on the music, but just like in a different way this time, you know? End of the World, let's just call it that for short, is definitely much more hype than my previous pick and is the theme song for the most iconic arc in the entire series, the climax of the Egypt arc, and the fateful confrontation with Dio. But fuck this guy. But like, there's just something about this song that doesn't sit right with me. I don't know. It's structured a little weird, I guess, and it has way too many forced in JoJo references, that's for sure. Also, the Order punch scene at the end isn't nearly as badass as the one from the Stand Proud OP is. We'll get to that later. And it only really works during the second version of the OP after Dio pauses the music using the world or Zawarudo, and cockily walks past Jotaro before getting into an all-out brawl with him. That shit is awesome, but other than that, it's kind of just there, you know? As I've said before though, the song is certainly one of the hypest in the entire series, even if it's not necessarily a bop like the other ones. And man, is there a lot going on here animation-wise. I've already spoken about the Dio and Jotaro scene. I really like the little recap of Dio's history with the Joestars in the beginning, and the same goes for the 3D desert scene right after it, showing Jotaro, Joseph, Avdol, Kakyoin, Iggy, and Polnareff. The main cast for part 3, obviously. Actually, I really like how all of the CGI is used in this opening, really. Once the hook kicks in though, boy does this OP turn into a visual feast, with a wonderfully shaded scene of the Stardust Crusaders observing the going-ons in Egypt, and then turning into actual shooting stars. Am I on an acid trip right now? But the biggest reason why I put this OP over Trader's Requiem, you ask? It's Jotaro's shoes, bruh. Gotta go travel across the desert for 60 days to defeat a 100-year-old vindictive vampire, but I can't forget the drip, bro. You can't forget the drip. Number 7. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Sing-along territory, here we are. 1999, Bizarre Summer. This song fills me with so much happiness, man, despite how twisted the story is that it hints towards. I have no sympathy towards this bitch whatsoever. She might actually be more useless than Sakura, yes. But shout out to the GOAT of the entire series, Hayato Kawajiri. In my opinion though, part 4 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamond is Unbreakable, isn't a part of JoJo that I find myself revisiting too often in the future, but still, the stands that it introduces are really underrated actually, and it has 3 very, very good openings to go with it. Great Days is my last choice out of the 3, but even while saying that, it's still a very formidable OP, you know? Yoshikage Kira is all over this OP, and rightfully so, seeing as how he's the final boss for this part of JoJo. And I guess at this point is a nice time to bring up the second version of this OP, the Bites the Dust version. Man, I really love these villain-specific openings. This version is pretty much just the original opening, but played in reverse, all with a slightly pitched up choir-backed version of Great Days, and it really adds to the uneasy and, again, real acid trippy feeling of Hayato living the same day over and over and over again at this point. And I'm honestly just really surprised at how well the opening works in reverse too. But enough of Groundhog Day talk. I love the laggy effect on Josuke, Okuyasu, Yukiko, and Koichi here. These are some of Josuke's best poses, bar none. The walkthrough scene of Rohan's porch was also pretty cool, and I also really like the snap poses of all the main cast, as well as the shot of the entire cast in front of a clock towards the end with all the stands standing on top. No pun intended. Quick side note, Shining Diamond, or Crazy Diamond, is one of the most broken abilities I think I've ever seen, by the way. Just wanted to put that out there. But yeah, this opening is just a very nice little send-off for part 4, really, and all the people of Morio, and Great Days is, to put it in 4 words, I guess, a very refreshing listen. Summertime music, you know, because it's really hot in this booth right now, Jesus. Which is perfectly appropriate, really. But spoiler alert, my next pick is also from Diamond is Unbreakable, but is honestly a much better theme song for it, in my opinion. Number 6. Now, I know that JoJo's can be a very dynamic series and all, not just in its openings, but during the show as well. But goddamn, this is such a colorful 90 seconds of animation, you know? I'm talking full-on 70s disco. I can only see tie-dye level color here. I'm so high. There's not one scene in this OP that isn't brimming with enough saturation for even a colorblind person to enjoy, you know? I cannot stop staring at the floor that Okuyasu is standing on here. It's absolutely mesmerizing. And speaking of mesmerizing, here comes my favorite part of the song, the scene of Josuke's jazz hands, Okuyasu, Jotaro, and Star Platinum, and of course, the Koichi pose that all real JoJo fans cower in fear from. Oh my god, he's so
sexy.
This whole opening really makes Morio come to life, you know, and the song title is very fitting, really, especially after seeing all the crazy, noisy, bizarre people that Part 4 introduced us to, all sliding across the screen over top of the Morio town symbol. Sure, this opening feels kinda Saturday morning cartoonish, but if we're being real here, how could JoJo's ever be a Saturday morning cartoon? I mean, come on. I think it's the most fitting theme to introduce a more urbanized turn for the series post-Stardust Crusaders. Josuke kinda gets overshadowed by Jotaro and Giorno, as far as I've seen in the fandom, and I guess it's because Diamond is Unbreakable is the most laid back of the three parts, you know? But that still doesn't mean that it's not enjoyable. It's just one thing that's still bothering me about this whole thing though, and I can't put my finger on it. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that this guy's hair looks like fucking toothpaste, fresh on the toothbrush, ready to cleanse my... Number 5. So, right, this is where things get tricky, okay? Because look, surprise, we're already in the top 5, and if I'm being honest, the entire concept of this list is very intimidating, but this OP is very iconic, for obvious reasons. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that this is where subjectivity really comes in and reigns supreme. Don't worry, I'll explain it later. So, where do I start with everything that I like about this opening? From just the first opening shot, you know, there's just so much to unpack already with all these manga pages showcasing the future JoJo's of this timeline, at least, from Jolene all the way back. I also really enjoy how it then transitions into this utterly immaculate display of the Joestar Mansion and Jonathan and Dio's beginnings. Another great scene is the transitions from the Goddess of Love statue to Dio holding the stone mask, then into an arm carving into a tree. Something about Erina, you know, maybe it's Jonathan.
It was I, Dio!
And I also enjoyed Dio's walk up the burning Joestar Mansion, really reminiscent of one of my favorite parts from Phantom Blood, Jonathan's first major confrontation with Dio. But the best part of this OP is undoubtedly Jonathan's march up the stairs of the Joestar Mansion. It just fits so perfectly with this section of the song, and things like the fire in Jonathan's eyes and the sinister look on Dio's face tells you all that you need to know about part 1 and, you know, like the story as a whole. And speaking of the song, it's pretty much the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure theme song, you know, no matter which part of the series you're on. Not only is it fitting with Jonathan's story, but it also captures the spirit of the entire JoJo series wonderfully. But now it's time for me to shit on it, okay? Just a little bit. Because personally, I feel like the studio overdid it here just a little bit with all the CGI. I like my fair share of three-dimensional fun as much as the next guy, but I feel like the frame rate here for a lot of this OP suffers because of it. And yeah, I know it's a tired take at this point, but Phantom Blood isn't really the most exciting part of JoJo's, you know? It actually put me off of the series for a few years because it was just so cliche. But it is necessary content, you know? Dio is the GOAT at the end of the day, and Baron Zeppeli is mad underrated. I just want to throw that out there. You know, look, competition is stiff here, okay? And it's very, very hard for me to find anything wrong or lackluster with my next 4 picks. So for as synonymous as this OP is with the series, I have to put it at the bottom of my top 5 because Phantom Blood just doesn't hold up, you know? It wouldn't be as memorable if it wasn't for the music here. I think that's the best part of this entire thing, really. Number 4. Now, this is the OP that I've been waiting for, is what I said to myself literally within the first few seconds watching this opening the first time around. It's not that I dislike the more upbeat and anthemic OPs for JoJo's, but this is like the rough punk rock sound that someone like me looks for. Yes, this is my favorite OP from Diamond Is Unbreakable, and that's because this opening adds an edge to everything. Something that I think was much needed at this point in the series, because Crazy Noisy Bizarre Town started becoming really awkward, what with Rohan Kishibe opening Koichi's skin like a book and reading his face, and the introduction of Yoshikage Kira. For as much as a scumbag as Shigechi is, he did not deserve that, spoiler alert. You also gotta love spin around cash shots like this, especially when they stop and pause in badass poses like this, and who doesn't love Joseph Joestar's inclusion in part 4? Yeah, I'm 92 and my dick still works, yup! Of course, you gotta love things like Rohan crafting the next jump masterpiece under a wonderfully pinkish hue here, the quick and subtle symbolism of the skull of sheer heart attack here, the unveiling of Act 3, and the scene of Aya holding Yukiko's face, two of the best waifus from this part of the series getting ready for the most twisted makeover session ever. By the way, none of these girls have anything on Josuke's mom, just want to throw that out there. Koichi! Just give Yukiko what she wants already. She wants to get fit. This scene of the camera zooming into Raimi is also a very underappreciated section of anime until now. Here's all my appreciation. And the battle scene against Killer Queen is awesome as well. Not the greatest in the world by JoJo standards, but everyone's stands look awesome here, and the arrows are very pretty, and Yoshikage Kira looks very final bossy towards the end. Finally, some importance and direction with Diamond Is Unbreakable. As a song, I prefer it over other songs like Sonochi no Sarame, yes, Great Days, and Crazy Bizarre Town, but that just comes down to the fact that I'm a big punk and metal guy, so I'll take a great punk song over a great pop song any day. In terms of animation, it isn't on the absolute ridiculous level of color and beauty that my next top 3 picks are on, but it does still hold its own against the rest. While attempting a darker, grittier opening to the series, it did not lose its dynamic colors and overall JoJo-ness of it at all. Out of all the OPs here, I think this one is certainly one of the ones that stick out the most, stylistically speaking, you know? Number 3. You know, yes, okay, yes. I prefer this OP to Sonochi no Sarame because, I mean, just look at it. Look at it! Look at all these glowing and multicolored silhouettes of Joseph, Lisa, and Caesar gearing up for battle. Look at it! Look at the magnificent backgrounds! There's so much going on! I know they often say to not sit too close to the TV and watch it in the dark, but if there was any OP to neglect those rules for and ruin your eyes for, it would be this one. Kids, don't try this at home. I mean, it's like the production team asked what kind of colors they should use for this OP, and the director was like, yes. Not to mention the CGI used in this opening was implemented much better than in Sonochi no Sarame. It's not all in your face all the time to the point where it's overkill. Here it's thrown in much more subtly, and when it pops up, it really makes the art pop out that much more, adding so much more of a sense of presence and dimension like it's supposed to, really. God, I love this scene of Lisa looking absolutely exquisite flowing in the wind here. I don't know why, but somehow I found myself crushing on every Joestar's mom. Yup, here we are. Every scene involving the Pillarmen comes off as super mysterious and intimidating, quite frankly. Like they're these ancient bodybuilding mummies out to get me or whatever. And whenever the part kicks in, I simply cannot take my eyes off the screen for the part showcasing each of the Pillarmen attacking while in this sketchy-like art style. Lines everywhere. Like seriously, this is so satisfying to look at. Of course, all the scenes of Joseph and Caesar's bromance in this OP is a nice thing to see as well, especially as you're progressing through the story, seeing how their relationship evolves. And at this point, I guess it's about time to talk about another reason why this OP makes my top 3. It's Joseph Joestar, and the fact that he's one of the funniest JoJo's in the entire series. A stark contrast really to Jonathan Joestar in not only personality, but in badass bandana as well. I won't dig too deep into the plot around this time because I'm not a spoiler, but besides Joseph himself, Lisa Lisa is another really great character. And as if this list wasn't hard enough to organize already, once you start really narrowing down the picks, it truly becomes damn near impossible. So you know what? At this point, it's less about the criteria. Fuck the criteria. And now it's just more about who's my favorite JoJo, you know? This is the Joseph Joestar OP for all intents and purposes, and it's incredible. But no one remembers Hamon in all fairness, and I still have two Joestars that I prefer a little bit more. Everyone kind of prefers a little bit more. But I do also love this little piece of foreshadowing here for Stardust Crusaders, so this OP is loaded. What else can I say? Number 2. This was so freaking close to being number 1, bro. Without a doubt, Giorno is my personal favorite Joestar. The inventiveness, the unapologetic nobility, the intelligence. I mean, credits to the rest of the Joestars for being able to use their stands in innovative ways during very close battles, but when it comes to pure scientific knowledge, Giorno could rival Shikamaru or Szayelaporro in terms of battle tactics, I mean, really. But Giorno isn't even close to the only thing I like about Golden Wind. Honestly, I think this is the only part that I could see standing alone as its own spin-off series. All praise to Stardust Crusaders for being so iconic as it is, but even that was a limited adventure with one specific goal. Giorno still had his goal, but with the mafioso gangster theme all over this part of the series, it's really a style that I wouldn't have minded another 30 or 40 episodes of, you know? It's like JoJo's meets The Godfather or Scarface, a very flamboyant Godfather or Scarface, that is. Say what you want about how sus this part of the series is, but it hands down has some of the best character designs of the entire series. But now, with all that out of the way, let's talk about the actual OP. And it's a fairly simple and straightforward one, to be honest. The entire OP is basically just a showcase of every member in Bruno Bucciarati's crew, and of Trish Una, but what a display it is, quite frankly. Not a bit of CGI in sight, and I'm not bothered about it in the slightest. It's easily made up for with all these colorful silhouettes and one of the greatest songs in the entire series. Just the first opening seconds is a goosebump inducer, you know? The stone statue and the title sequence afterwards and the way that it syncs up with the music is just perfect. But then we get to the introduction of Bucciarati's team. Look at Mista looking like a badass CIA agent running past a bunch of chain link before preparing to shoot something. Trish being surrounded by chain here falling into her silhouette is also incredibly mesmerizing, but not as mesmerizing as these jump cut zoom out shots of Narancia behind the chain until his silhouette is shown posing in the wind. Then we see Fugo, Bruno Bucciarati himself, and everyone shown here besides their stands, including one of my personal favorites from this part, Abacchio in Moody Blues or Moody Jazz. I prefer the English dub name better, but that's just me. Until we get to the true best section of the OP, seeing everyone showcase their stand's abilities. I feel like the side characters in Golden Wind were handled with much more care than in previous parts. Each of them had their own uniquely tragic backstory, and as you progress through part 5, you'll quickly start to realize that this scene starts out as an ordinary anime OP trope, sure, but then slowly evolves into a really energetic showcase of a bunch of badass characters from a couple of badass arcs. You should already know by now what I'm going to say in regards to the song as well. Badass, and very fitting as well for Giorno. Although I've said all these great things about Golden Wind and about Giorno being my personal favorite Joestar, Fighting Gold is still only my second favorite OP. Why, you ask? Well, I'll get to that in a second. Don't you touch that dial. Fighting Gold. And that brings me to number 1. Oh, what could it be? I mean, come on. Like, how could I not make this number 1? Look at Jotaro here. It's like he's directly pointing at me saying, hey, look, yo ass better put this OP at number 1, boy, before I get Star Platinum to order yo ass up out of here. This song is absolutely amazing. For as great as the lineup has been for today's video in terms of music, Stand Proud is without a doubt the front runner for me. It's just epic in all the right places, you know what I mean? This song is Stardust Crusaders for me, and honestly, they didn't even have to switch it. Sorry, End of the World OP. The beginning scene is the perfect stage setter for part 3. The first time I'd ever seen this OP, it got me so excited for the forthcoming arc. Almost like a movie trailer would, really. And the guitar riff during the title sequence is orgasmic. Nope, it doesn't let up. Look at all these beautiful stars and the moon, with these shooting stars flying across the night sky and across the globe, and this other one off to the far right. Is this supposed to be Iggy? I don't know. Damn, now I'm all emotional. Dio looks his most diabolical here after waking up fresh as a daisy after a 100-year slumber. And most of the scenes after this just stir up so much nostalgia from any JoJo fan's first run through part 3. And all the, indeed, very bizarre stories that Jotaro, Joseph, Avdol, Kakyoin, and Polnareff all have from their 2-month-long manhunt for Dio. All the background art in this opening is utterly fantastic, and it took me a while to figure out what was going on here exactly, but this red and white sketch style scene of Dio flexing is just like so wicked and visceral, you know? Then after that, obviously, is the pinnacle of this opening, during the hook, while all of the Stardust Crusaders demonstrate each of their stands for all to see. And I could talk about the art and how well the CGI is here all day, but actually, I just want to give all my love to the music here. I love Bloody Stream so much because of the wild colors and the song's poppiness, and I love Fighting Gold because it's basically JoJo's campiness turned all the way up to 1,000, but Stand Proud is simply on a whole different level of awesome, really. It has the perfect mixture of blood-pumping energy and testosterone-smothered JoJo macho-ness. And then again, it's also very hard to beat a scene where Star Platinum Order punches the screen until it breaks in tandem with some absolutely legendary drum playing in the background. All in all, Stardust Crusaders is iconic for a reason, you know? Before I got into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure a couple of years ago, all I kept hearing from people was Jotaro, 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 a little bit of Giorno, then Jotaro, Jotaro, Jotaro. And it's kinda hard to argue with his popularity, really, especially when you have a song as appropriate as this one. When it comes to JoJo OPs, they are incredibly unique in how well some of the songs symbolize and define the different protagonists throughout the series. Certain OPs really carry the spirit of a main character, you know? Almost like a musical version of their stand. And when it comes to this OP being number 1, I guess it just comes down to Jotaro out badassing everyone. Jotaro is undoubtedly one of, if not the coolest Joestars of the entire series, and this OP pretty much explains why in about 90 seconds. And that was every JoJo's Bizarre Adventure opening ranked from worst to best. A little bit of a shorter video this time around because, you know, I back-to-back months I've been doing hour-long plus videos, and I'm gonna be honest, the amount of time that it takes for those videos to render and, you know, save and upload to YouTube is crazy. And don't even get me started on the copyright thing, but I'm gonna make this ending as short as I possibly can. I know I say that a lot, but this time I'm super serious because, man, it's the middle of the summer. There is no air in this soundproof place that I'm recording in right now, and I am dying, even though I'm the sun. So, real quick, plans for next month. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet. For the first time ever, I actually have a bunch of choices and options. So, thank you guys for leaving your suggestions on what to rank next. Please, underneath this video in the comment section below, let me know what else you want me to rank. Again, we're not digging at the bottom of the barrel yet. There are still plenty of series to go. So I haven't really made my mind up yet on what I want to do next month. I might leave it up to you guys just because I'm kind of indecisive. So I'll make a poll. I'm thinking, you know, I'm thinking about doing Gintama. We'll see, but I'll make a poll to see what you guys want because I've been seeing a lot of One Piece as well. But with that being said, I'm gonna get out of here, guys, before I absolutely evaporate. But wait, how could I? I'm the sun. Anyways, leave a like if I'm all right. Subscribe, please, because I'm broke. Again, share the video, comment the video. And I just appreciate all you guys for watching all the videos that I put out thus far. You know, we're on our way to 2,000 subscribers. Let's get it done, boys. Let's get it done. Yeah, I'm out. Sun time. Oh yeah, and check out the podcast too. It's lit.